Hey fellow comrades, how you guys been doing? It's your boys in here and welcome back to our newest, well basically to our second top 10 list. I know. I want to apologize to everybody that did subscribe to me for this kind of videos. I know there has been like 1,000 subscribers basically bare on the previous one. So if any of you guys are watching this, sorry for the wait. But yeah, this is going to be my newest top 10. It's going to be revolving around my basic favorite Pokemon, of course, based on the title. It's not going to be scripted. I'm just going to talk about them as we go, whatever comes to mind, of course. I do have them written down right here on my notepad. You guys cannot see, of course. Still, I have them written down because I don't want to be messing around too much. I want to have them memorized to a certain extent, and I want to have them in line. So yes, if you got yourself your top 10, be sure to leave it in the comment section. Would love to hear from you. And also, you know, keep in mind this is my top 10. Take it for what it is, respect it, and I respect yours. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's go directly diving into number 10. Okay, so try to recognize the sounds of the Pokemon that would probably been the sounds that he would have been making, or them would have been making. Try to recognize. Right, I know I'm horrible making sounds, but try to bear with me here. I give you 3 seconds. Leave in the comment section on what kind of Pokemon did you think about when you were hearing those weird ass sounds that I was making there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you guys will tell me if you did manage to succeed. I was talking about Doublade, of course. Yeah. What's better than one sword and having, you know, just 2 swords in general? And Doublade is definitely my top 10 in here. Shiny blood swords look amazing. The typing is incredible. I prefer Doublade over Aegislash just because Aegislash is very unique. That is true, but its uniqueness can actually backfire depending on what kind of player you're facing. And it's really like a backflip sometimes. It can really, that ability of his can actually backfire on you. It's a real double-edged sword sometimes. Still, Doublade doesn't play with that. He actually has its statistics lock. Plus, being the middle form, whatever the gender they tend to represent, that material tends to represent whatever. Well, like, how does that even work? Like, those are Pokemon? But, yeah, whatever they represent, their stats are really much locked down, and they can still run Evilite. Now, bear in mind, Doublade. Actually, Doublade doesn't have a gender, does he? Maybe it does. Actually, still, Doublade, factoring that with Evilite he can take 2 crunches from the likes of Tyranitar, and that is stat, ladies and gentlemen, that is quite impressive. Not to mention that he reminds me, them actually remind me, it's really hard to kind of address it as a 1 when they are basically 2, so I'm just gonna address it as a 2. Remind me of Soul Calibur, fighting game, the first one on Dreamcast. Enjoyed that game a lot. Played it with my sister, kind of get my ass kicked by Waldo and Astro that she loved to run, and I was trying to use that Mitsurugi guy, cool guy, but kept on failing because you youngsters, she's like 10 years younger than me and she kicks my ass in those games. You youngsters are masters of gaming, I swear. Oh man, the older I get, the rustier I get in gaming, I swear to God. Still, that's beside the point. What does remind me of Doublade regarding Soul Calibur is the sword, you know, the swords that the game is known for. This Pokemon just reminds me of that vibe, of that Soul Calibur vibe, and I love that. So yeah, Doublade, typing, the vibe of Soul Calibur in general, and general use statistics, very fun Pokemon to use, make it my top 10. So with top 10, of course, we dive below top 10 into top 9. Yes, top 9. We're gonna go into top 9 and we're gonna find ourselves a bird. What specific bird will this be? Well, first of all, we got an Olympic bird, we got Moltres, then we got static aggression bird, Zapdos. On the other hand, we do have a chill breeze, Articuno. And I have to mention, if there is a bird from those 3 that I had to pick for a day to hang out, it would have to be Articuno, ladies and gentlemen. Articuno is a magnificent looking Pokemon. It really is. I'm kind of saddened by the fact that he's really weak to Stealth Rock. So competitive vibe, he is definitely below Moltres and Zapdos, which both tend to super effect hit him. Poor guy. Still, Articuno does have the coolness. that Pokemon looks mystical. It looks mysterious, and I love it. Its colors are very calm, and I like that. And just generally speaking, the design, it stands out as my favorite. But from the usage point of view, I have to mention that Ice, Articuno, probably my favorite when it comes down to Ice types. So yeah, Articuno is gonna be my number 9, pretty much because it's my favorite Ice type Pokemon. Yeah. Number 8 is gonna be Slaking. Now, for all you guys who don't know, Norman had Slaking in Ruby Sapphire. You guys know because you play Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, of course. But first time facing Slaking, I was blown away because I couldn't understand how bulky this thing really is. Its ability is a drawback. Its stats can compare to those Ubers and even beat some of them because its stats are quite spectacular. Its drawback is his ability, but he does have the bulk and he does have the strength, ladies and gentlemen. Choice Band Giga Impact, this thing hurts. You better bring in something that resists. If it does neutral, then you're in for a pain. Doesn't matter how bulky your Pokemon is, it's still gonna dish. It's just gonna do so much damage, it's gonna be unreal. It's got the speed, surprisingly enough, being that, you know, it looks like it weighs a ton or maybe multiple tons. But somehow this gorilla looking Pokemon really outsurpassed the expectations I first had when I saw it. The ability kind of let me down a bit, but then seeing the stats and I was like, okay, now I understand why this Pokemon has this ability, because without it would have been too freaking good. So basically, Slaking design also I like, you know, it's a huge ass gorilla. You don't mess around with this. I don't know what's with the king in the names. Kingler, you know, Nidoking, Slaking, Slowking, Kingdra, and yet you can have like a female Kingdra and it's still called Kingdra. It's not Queendra. It's weird and disturbing, but still, you know, that's Game Freak for you. Screw logic. Still. Anyways, yeah, Slaking definitely number 8 for how unique he was back in the Ruby Sapphire days, and I absolutely love that design. So with number 8, we of course are gonna dive ourselves below number 8, and if my math doesn't suck, that is supposed to be 6. No, 7. 7, yes, 7. Lucky 3 7s, right? Not really, we only have 1. Number 7 is gonna be Escavalier. Now, I was debating whether or not I should put Escavalier in here or Mandibuzz, for they both have this similar vibe. They both remind me of Dragon Quest. And if you guys don't know, I love Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest is very famous in Japan as a gaming series. Huge, that thing is huge. I actually once heard that people didn't go to school for like a week when Dragon Quest was coming out because they were just too busy playing the games. Crazy stuff, man, but I love it. That's why I love Japan, man. You guys are great. Where the hell is my employer? Oh, he playing Dragon Quest at home. Man, that's some silly stuff. Still, you know, that's dedication to you know, that's a gamer. Still, it's funny just thinking about that. I had to know that one. Escavalier and Mandibuzz are different. For some reason, their design, well, Mandibuzz is a typical bird, you know, typical bird from the desert. You guys know which bird I'm talking about, that eats on your living flesh, basically. And then we got, you know, Escavalier, but I'm just gonna go with Escavalier because I kind of like using Escavalier more, so I may just put Mandibuzz aside, you know. I just make it like a special mention. So Escavalier is gonna be the one mentioned here. Assault Vest is an item to be used in Escavalier. This thing has got the bulk, it's got the type, it's only weak to fire, ladies and gentlemen. It even resists fairy, the newest common typing that we have been introduced to. So that's definitely a bonus. It's got Iron Head, it's got Mega Horn, it's got Swarm ability, lots of things going on for it. And what really makes him stand out, as again, as I said, is that its design. Again, it's really strange because I was like, whoever made this Pokemon, whoever's idea was to make this Pokemon come true, he had to have Dragon Quest basically on top of his head while making this Pokemon a factor. Really, I would have not been surprised because, again, it's huge. Dragon Quest is huge. Pokemon are huge, but still, you know, it's Japan, and what do you know? You know, you got Tentacruel and you got Ferrothorn and all sorts of things. I mean, they have been somehow inspired by a couple of factors from Japan, but we're not gonna go into those factors. What I'm gonna say is, if this was not inspired by Dragon Quest, well, I'll be damned, but still, I always remember Dragon Quest while using Escavalier or facing Escavalier, and that is a bonus. That is a nice feel, and for that, Escavalier is in my top 7. 7, right? Yeah, it's 7. Right. So from 7, we go to 6. 6, ladies and gentlemen, we go sky high. What is that? It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's actually a bird. It's Pidgeot. That's right, it's no Superman. But hey, Mega Pidgeot is Bird Jesus. For that makes him stronger than Superman. Thinking about it, should Superman go against Jesus? And who would have won? I know Superman beat Goku and lots of people had struggle against that. But then Jesus walks on water. I mean, that's some strength, man. I don't know. Still, that's beside the point. What am I even saying? It's... yeah, I'm messing around. So, basically, Mega Pidgeot is insanely cool looking. And Pidgeot, the reason I have it in is because Pidgey. Pidgey was the Pokemon that most of you guys that played the oldest games like Red and Blue and even Gold and Silver, Pidgeys were around there as your first encounters that you had to catch, or Rattatas. And for some reason, Pidgey, it was always there. No matter how many times I replayed the game, I always had a Pidgey in my team. Yes, part of it was because HMO2, you gotta have a Pokemon to fly, because Charizard didn't know how to fly in Red and Blue, surprisingly enough. He had wings, it didn't work out. The poor fellow, maybe his wings broke or something, I don't know. Maybe he was on a fuel, I don't know. Whatever the case, Pidgey was the one to rely on to fly around, you know. That's the way the game worked. And while there are other birds, for some reason Pidgey is the one that I always had my team, Pidgeot always being there. And that really stands out, that really tells you something. Like, when you got other birds and yet you go always with Pidgey, when you know that the stats are gonna be there, the moves he's gonna learn, you already know the Pokemon's levels, the moves at which level he will learn them, and yet you still pick him? Why? Because a freaking Pidgeot. That is reason enough. Like, seriously, that is a one cool ass looking bird. Let's be serious, Mega Pidgeot, going special hurricanes, man, that is one cool ass looking bird. And for that, number 6 must go to this spot, because again, this is the one Pokemon, the only one Pokemon that I keep on using no matter how many times I replay my games. If I had the chance to catch this Pokemon early on, I will do so, and I will use it with great pleasure and make other people scream in agony and pain as I get myself some Pokemon-y. That's how it works. Yeah. So basically, from one bird taking the place of the 6th, we're gonna go to the 5th place, and we're gonna go to another bird. Of course, this bird is actually my favorite legendary Pokemon of all time. Mewtwo is really close to him, but sadly he got beaten by a little bit. Mewtwo was cool in the movies, I have to mention. So, which is the bird I'm talking about? Well, let me try to make a voice out of him, like the gaming voice. How did it go? What the fuck was that? Okay, I'm just messing around. So basically, he is Ho-Oh. And that bird is insane. I love that bird. I love that the bird is mystical. It's really mysterious. They kept on like really hitting him. Lugia had its movie. Entei had its movie. We seen Suicune. We seen Raikou. Somehow they managed to skip Ho-Oh completely. Love that. The whole design and his whole red, well, not red, but his whole black lines, it just puts a little bit more aggressiveness towards him, yet at the same time it's really mysterious and strong. But in Ubers, this is definitely my favorite Pokemon to use, no question about it. Going to Ubers, Ho is the one Pokemon I always use. He is weak to Stealth Rocks, that is definitely a problem, but Ho gained the best ability, well, at least for him, that he could ever ask for, and that is to regenerate. He gains 33% on the switch, 33% of HP back. That's very important when you actually consider 50% taken from the Stealth Rock, so you gotta have yourself, you know, something to get rid of those. But still, with regenerate, it's not all that difficult. But the thing about Ho is that his special defense is ginormous. He can run Assault Vest with this, and with Regenerate you're going to be taking Dracometus with reasonable ease, even from the strongest Pokemon out there, but it needs to be from special because Ho's special is really mighty, and his defense really isn't on pair. But you can also run Roosting Set with leftovers. You can run a Sleep Talker, which I actually decide to run, and it makes Darkrai scream in agony and pain once he decides to, like, you know, go for the Dark Void, as I go for the Sleep Dog, get Sacred Fire or Brave Bird, and whichever I get, it's gonna do a lot of damage. Plus, Flying and Fire is actually quite great combination Maybe not as great, like lower tiers I could see that being potentially more dangerous, but even in Ubers it's very dangerous, and it's been doing work. It's been surprisingly the strongest Pokemon I've used in Ubers, at least for me, from my experience. And yeah, people seem to struggle against Ho. Since he got regenerated back, he was a little bit easier to handle. But Ho, he is the magnificence. He is the legendary bird that if Pokemon were real, I would want to catch. Like, forget all else. I freaking get myself a Ho. Like, seriously, a Ho, all else matters not. I'll probably struggle with a Bulbasaur against him. Ladies and gentlemen, from the 5th, we go to the 4th. That's right, top 4. Who is this creature? Well, actually, he goes into the shadows of the realms. He comes back, laughs at you, and gives you a bomb. And you explode, and you start laughing as well. Does this remind you of anything? Like from the anime? It was a little bit psychotic also. Do you guys know which Pokemon I'm talking about? Can you, yeah? No? Okay, so it's Haunter, of course. I'm talking about the anime with Sabrina. Haunter I love. First of all, Haunter, when you look at it like from a ghost perspective, I didn't know that you gotta have a link cable to evolve Haunter into Gengar. I had friends, of course, but we play Pokemon, but we didn't have link cable, and we just didn't know this. I mean, basically we barely even read the Pokedex back then. Little did we know how dark the Pokedex was for a game that, you know, little kids can play. But it seems lots of things have been skipped by me, and I'm kind of feel a little bit saddened by that nowadays that I look at it. Still, Haunter is the Pokemon that I would imagine being a real ghost, and Gengar for one, the one thing that make me prefer Haunter over Gengar is that Gengar has two things that I don't want a ghost to have. Basically, his hands and legs are part of his body. Basically, Gengar has legs. That, I don't know how to feel about that. I'm not a big fan of that. Now, what I am a big fan of is Haunter having separate arms from his body and having no legs. Like, basically, Haunter looks more ghost than Gengar will ever do. Then again, Mega Gengar does look a little bit ferocious. Then again, thinking about it, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Gengar, but I just feel Haunter is much more complete as a ghost type from the design angle, at least for me. Again, every taste differ, but again, Haunter is just, the design level is amazing, plus it's nostalgia. This was the first Pokemon that got into Elite. I still know the full moveset: Hypnosis, Dream Eater, Nightshade, and Psychic. He was at level 100, so you guys can only imagine him, you know, doing some work with reasonable ease, because that high level only had 2 Pokemon back then. I had Pidgeot, but that was like less of a level, so he was kind of struggling. Still, it was fun, and Haunter, being that it has such huge nostalgia, has to be in here. So for that, he takes my top 4 without a doubt. Haunter, the best ghost. Let's go to number 3. Right. So if you guys don't know, I like watching supernatural TV series. I like supernatural creatures, you know, the myths, like Greek gods and Greek, you know, all these legends that we're in. And I look at things like leviathans and chimeras and, you know, all sorts of things. But then I come across this one creature that's my favorite, and that is a hellhound. Like, who wouldn't want to have himself a dog, the guardian of hell? Look, this game, once Gold and Silver got introduced, we got introduced to Houndoom. Houndoom is exactly that. He is a hellhound, ladies and gentlemen. If you read its Pokedex, if you read it really closely and think about it, he's like living hell. If you piss this Pokemon off, you know, he somehow bites you. It is described, I believe, it's been a while when I last read, that you will forever feel the pain of fire inside of you. It's basically hell. So forever is a long word, you know. Forever is a very long word. How does that work? Like, when you die, you still feel, yeah. That's kind of crazy thinking about it. But the design, I love its design. Its typing is incredible. It's probably my favorite sprite back in the 2nd generation Houndoom, definitely. If you would have gone to your parents saying, "Oh, Mama, Dad, I just caught myself a dog. Well, that's cute, sweetheart. So what is this dog all about? Oh, you know, he's a very ferocious dog. He's got basically bones stuck up of his body, like backbones and 2 bones on his head. And wait a minute, kid, like, isn't this game for like 7-year-olds or something? What's the rating for this game? Because I swear, like, who made this Pokemon yet? Don't go read Pokedex, kid. Don't go read Pokedex. That's all I can tell you. No, but seriously, Houndoom's design, as I said, the bones stuck up on his body is incredible. Mega Houndoom. Man, let me try to explain. Houndoom. Right. Houndoom is a peasant. Houndoom is a little puppy to his Lord and Savior, Satan. But let me tell you, once that Houndoom evolves, he looks like the Lord himself. Lord and Savior Satan is gone. Mega Houndoom take its place. Hell is his realm. That's how I feel about it. Mega Houndoom, spectacular design. My favorite Mega, without a doubt. But then again, even without the Mega Houndoom or Houndoom alone, cool as hell. Literally. Right. So, from the 3rd to the 2nd, who will take my 2nd place? Of course, it's gonna be my mascot. If you guys can see my icon anywhere from the mobile devices, or maybe from PC, maybe from a 3DS, who knows, maybe even from a TV, I don't know. Still, it is of course Marowak. I want to be frankly honest with you guys. Marowak was not really my favorite back in the days. I got my first sweep with it, so it kind of started to grow on me, but it really started to grow after realizing he gets Thick Club, which basically means it basically doubles his attack to extraordinary amount. At level 100, this thing has got 286, I believe, or 284. I believe it's 284. So we basically got 568 attack. That is insanity. That is not normal. And basically, while this thing doesn't have the speed, it can still be, if you train in speed to a certain extent, where he actually outspeed a couple of common tanks and walls. And that with that attack, he's gonna be breaking them. He's gonna be breaking them legs left and right. He's got the ability that prevents him from getting recall, which makes him use Double Edge with reasonable ease. He also has Bell Armor, which also allows him to not get critted. Plus, I kind of like the sound of Bell Armor. You know, because when I look at Marowak, I fought like a cave creature. But then he looks like a knight at some point. Like he just got himself a Bell Armor. Imagine that, right? Still, it's a Pokemon that's very interesting because he was also a Pokemon, one of them Pokemon that actually had a backstory. And this is one of them random Pokemons, right? But it was memorable, and lots of people made all this kind of stories behind it. You know, all kind of artwork that I absolutely adore. I may actually put a couple of them in here so you guys can see. Still, the story gone that Team Rocket was basically basically attacking the Cubone, but if I'm not mistaken, Marowak, his mother, saved his life of that Cubone, and that kind of cost her life. Team Rocket killed her. So yeah, her spirit was still around, and you had to kind of get rid of it at some point. But the Cubone was the one, you know, that was suffering. He was the one that kind of never really let go of his mother spirit. Generally speaking, he kind of took over her skull and put it onto his head. Imagine that one. It was even written down Pokedex, if I'm not mistaken. His skull, like looking at the moon, and maybe even after like slaughtering some Pokemon, because that's how you know, experience points happen. That's how you evolve your Pokemon. He slaughtered some Pokemon. After evolving, that skull of his mother, basically, that was attached to his body, well, basically that was put on onto his head, became truly attached and basically part of his body. He couldn't take it off anymore because that would have killed him. That, ladies and gentlemen, is well, actually kind of highly disturbing, very sad, but at the same time very, very interesting. Yeah, it's a Pokemon that's got a backstory, which I can respect. You know, being that I was a youngster, I didn't really look at this way, this hard. The more I grow older, I come to realize, whoa, Marowak actually has a story. I was just like, you know, there was a ghost and I had to get rid of it, but I never really look at it beyond that. Barely ever read anything. That's why I kind of skipped Pokedex when I was younger, but that was kind of cool, you know, kind of cool. A nice little spark of maturity, at least in these games, you know. That is what I really do appreciate. So yeah, Marowak, my mascot for a reason. He has one cool dude, and you don't be fucking around with him because he will fuck you up. That thing is strong as hell, man. Now, who does take my first place? Of course, you guys probably already know if you've been watching my stuff for a couple of years. You know which Pokemon will take first place. I would have said Bulbasaur, but no. So the first place, ladies and gentlemen, goes to... Let the drum set go. Venusaur! Yay! Yeah, Venusaur, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I would have said Bulbasaur because in the anime, Bulbasaur was the coolest character thingy. And I have to say that Venusaur is pretty much nostalgia. There is no question about it. Nostalgia will win this one. It's not about his design. Well, I have to mention that even ever since before till now, even now, and only now did I realize, wait, Venusaur is a toad. I never looked at him this way. I was just like, you know, he's a typical dinosaur, but I never really looked at him as a mixture of toad and dinosaur combined together. That was very interesting. I don't know how I managed to bypass that, but again, with older sprites, it's kind of harder to tell. Still, the first Pokemon, you know, it's a Bulbasaur that I got first time around. I don't know why. Ever since I seen the Pokemon, okay, so we got a fire lizard. Everybody likes fire, so everybody's gonna pick this. So we got Squirtle. Okay, 2 cartridges, blue and red. Where's green? Okay, I feel like Bulbasaur is gonna be the less favoritized because of this, and I was not wrong. Basically, everybody, no, not everybody, but when it comes down to voting, I know Charizard and Blastoise are gonna win. There's no question about it. And Venusaur, I don't know what's up with me, but I know the Venusaur is gonna be the one that's gonna be stepped aside, and I picked it. I picked Bulbasaur, and for some reason, thinking about it, I would still pick Bulbasaur. No matter what, no matter the reasons, I would still pick Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, Venusaur, Sleep Powder, Solar Beam, Sunny Day, Chlorophyll, Mega Venusaur, Thick Fat. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing is so bulky it can even work defensively in doubles. And in doubles, there are 2 targets going against you. There are 2 potential enemies doing slamming attacks and all sorts of attacks against you, but you don't care because you are Mega Venusaur and you take moves left and right, and that is impressive. Mega Venusaur, Venusaur in general, first place, no doubt. Nostalgia is a huge factor, and somebody's messing around with my video. Well, thank you. Okay, I feel like that's gonna do for now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Did you enjoy? Be sure to give a like. It really does mean a lot. It really does help. I do appreciate you guys' support. And with that being said, till next time, take care. Peace.